Hey guys, it's Cash, and today I just thought this would be a fun video talking about my top 10 favorite science fiction or fantasy characters that I have read so far. And I also think this is a video I could probably update every year going forward on this channel. No real rules here before I get into it. I am doubling up in some series because I just couldn't decide between a few of these characters in some of my favorite series, so you're just going to have to deal with that. Um, this is a non-spoiler video. I don't think I'll be going too deep into any of these books or series that the characters are from, so you should be safe and have nothing to worry about there. However, that being said, yeah, perhaps maybe a minor spoiler warning in the sense that if a character is in more than one book in the series, then obviously that means they have survived up to that point at least. So I'll give a minor spoiler on that if that bothers you. Um, but I am going to do my best to keep it as vague as possible. So let's just get into it. All right, I did want to start with a few honorable mentions before getting into the top 10 list, and I am starting with Karen Murphy from the Dresden Files. She can't quite crack the top 10 because really I did not like her character in the first few books in the series. However, honestly, I can say after that, from about book 3 on, I find myself liking her more and more as the series continues. I'm not done with the Dresden Files, or not current with it, I should say, so don't know what to expect with Murphy going forward. So she is in the honorable mentions for now. Next honorable mentions going to be Ellen Venture from Mistborn Era 1. I really do love Ellen, I do, but I did not want to just spam my top 10 with a bunch of Mistborn characters, so I had to drop him, wanted to drop him just a little bit. The character development for Ellen is phenomenal. Sanderson did a great job with him from beginning of the trilogy to the end. Ellen's grown so much as a character, but there are, like I said, a few other people in Era 1 that I just like a bit more, so I did drop Ellen a bit here. And then the last honorable mention before getting into the list proper is going to be Bast from the King Killer Chronicle. He's everyone's favorite Fae, and he even has his own novella following a day in his life. I really do enjoy his character, but I really don't know how he fits into the story as a whole, and it's hard to say where he'll finally fall on my favorite characters list at the end of the day. And who knows if we'll ever see that ending? So we kind of might have to fill the blanks in ourselves. So he might always be an honorable mention, but yeah, that is where he is hanging out now. But let's get into the actual top 10 list. All right, number 10 on this list is going to be Mark Watney from The Martian by Andy Weir, and it's really hard to not like Mark Watney. He's faced with an impossible task of surviving on Mars all by himself with, no hope or rescue in sight. Um, and, I think we can all aspire to be a little more like Mark Watney ourselves. No matter how impossible the odds are stacked against you, always have a good attitude and put your best foot forward and make the most as best as you can out of it. And it's his attitude that really keeps him going throughout the book. There are a few moments where he almost loses it for the most part, but it's his jokes and inner monologue that make the story so great. When the book is mostly about a single person surviving on a planet that is by himself, he better be a pretty good character, and Mark Watney fits the bill perfectly. Then, number 9 on this list is actually the most recent character I have discovered in my reading, and I am talking about Dervel from the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. I have so far only read the first book in this trilogy, but I love Dervel's character. I do have a complete review on this first book on my channel already, if you want to go check that out. Um, Dervel is the first character I have come across where I really feel like it was me in the book, in the story. Some of the decisions and reactions he has in certain situations I really resonated with. He would probably honestly be ranked higher in this list, but I did just read the book a few weeks ago, so I need to give it some more time to resonate with me to see if I feel the same way. Number 8 is going to be Mustang from the Red Rising saga. I know I said I didn't want a bunch of characters from the same series bogging down the list, but I may have made an exception for Red Rising. Mustang is a fantastic character and is one of my favorite in the series. So far, I should say I have only read the original Red Rising trilogy, but that will be changing here in the next few months. And to put it simply, I love Mustang because she is loyal, she is loving, and quite simply, she is just badass. Number 7, just to keep that Red Rising theme going, Severo belongs in the number 7 spot. Back-to-back Red Rising characters here. Couldn't avoid putting Severo on this list. He's just awesome. He'd probably be my favorite character in the series if we weren't in the head of the main character the whole time. Severo is as loyal as it comes, and he is the best friend that anybody could ever ask for. Won't say too much on either of these two characters, again, because I'm only through the first 3 books. Alrighty, number 6, we are going with Kavoth from the King Killer Chronicle. He is everyone's favorite long-winded storyteller, right? Of course, while the story is not finished, as I said while talking about Bast and the honorable mentions, that that is the only reason why Kavoth isn't ranked higher and why he is sitting at 6. Um, it was his story that pulled me back into loving fantasy as a genre in general. It was the first fantasy story I read. Name of the Wind was the first fantasy book I read since going through the Lord of the Rings trilogy back in high school. And it was just what I needed. I hope one day to be able to put Kavoth higher than number 6, but I don't think that is up to me at this point. All right, at number 5, we're going back to Mistborn Era 1, and I am talking about Vin. And Vin is one of my favorite protagonists ever. Um, the development from her character, of her character from the beginning of the trilogy as a lowly street urchin to compared to where she ends up at the end is just magnificent. Um, and so far she's just the baddest Alamancer around, and it's not even close. Again, we'll see if there's anyone better in Era 2, which I'm getting to later this year. But so far, it's her. She's the sickest, and it's really not even close. Alamancy in general is just awesome and my favorite magic system I've discovered while reading so far. So, of course, she had to be this high on the list. But she is not my favorite character from Mistborn Era 1. That belongs to the person at the number 4 spot on this list. And I'm talking about Tinsoon. Um, this kind of sucks because I really don't know how to talk about his character in a non-spoiler way. I really can't even tell you who he is. But everyone who's read Era 1 knows why he is a badass, knows why he's the best character, in my opinion, in this series. And yeah, just read Mistborn if you haven't and learn about Tinsoon. He is awesome. All right, so these next two, number 2 and 3 on my list was really hard for me. They were pretty interchangeable. Didn't know what I was going to do right up till actually pressing record, but for now, I'm going with this. At number 3 is going to be Darrow from Red Rising. He is the main character in one of my favorite book series of all time. Um, he was almost number 2, but I'll get to that in a second. We spend the entire original trilogy of Red Rising inside Darrow's head, and to be honest, it's actually, ironically enough, this is what gets Pierce Brown in trouble sometimes. But for me personally, I love all the storytelling choices he makes, and the ride he takes us on by being inside Darrow's head. It's just awesome. The speeches that Darrow gives are just second to none. The dialogue is incredible in Red Rising. It'll have me wanting to run through a wall for Reaper. It's just great. I've heard the POV does get split up in future books, so I'm interested to see how that I react to that. But we'll see where Darrow ends up on this list next year. All right, now at number 2, the person that beat out Darrow for the number 2 spot is Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files. I couldn't really justify putting him anywhere else on this list. Uh, we are also in Harry's head like Darrow throughout the entire series, but I think it is actually handled better than in Red Rising, at least for now. Ever since I met Harry, he's been one of my favorite characters that I've read. Butcher's delivery with him cracks me up. The jokes land almost every single time for me. I do understand the problems that people have with Harry's character. I do not share those same problems, however. I love Harry. I understand that if someone was following someone around all day and, in their head and sharing all of their thoughts 24/7, 365 days a year, they'd probably be embarrassed or even look dumb a lot of the times. But for me, it is what makes me connect to Harry Dresden's character so much more, and that is why he is number 2 on this list. Alrighty, finally, we are at the top spot, the number 1 spot for my favorite science fiction or fantasy character so far, at least here in 2024. And I was actually incorrect earlier by saying that Severo is the greatest or best friend that you could ever want, because it is actually this man here. It is Samwise Gamgee, and He's my favorite character in the Lord of the Rings and favorite fantasy character ever, and it's going to take quite an effort to usurp him. Again, it's been years, I admit, since I've read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was back in when I was in high school, but that's also the reason why he's number one, because it's been so many years and he is still my favorite. And yeah, no, he's just awesome. He, travels with Frodo through it all, through hell and back, through thick and thin, and he's the best character in the series. And he's my favorite so far. And yeah, don't think it'll change anytime soon. But yeah, that was the list. Again, just thought this would be a fun video to get out there to you guys. Look forward to seeing how this list changes in the future. Again, I will be doing it probably this time next year, in January 2025. So look forward to that. Let me know some of your guys' favorite characters in science fiction or fantasy down below in the comments. Um, if you want to follow my reading journey, please subscribe. And if you want to support this video, do hit the like button. But yeah, that's about it from me. I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.